In the name of Allah, the most merciful, most gracious, and most beneficent. Prophet Muhammad said, with wholesome Allah wishes betterment, He gives him the knowledge of facts. He also said, learning of knowledge is an obligatory part of every Muslim. Now, today, I will start another chapter for class 12th, and this is very important chapter, that is evolution. That is also a burning topic, evolution. Now, how can I define evolution? When I am asking students what is evolution, their answer is change. When I am posing question what is variation, their answer is also change. So they are giving the same answer to the two terms, variation and evolution. These are two different terms, evolution and variation. What is variation? Variation is differences of organisms. Suppose we are human beings. We are not similar. We are different. This is variation. Why we are different? Because we are produced by sexual reproduction. Okay. This is variation. Now what is evolution? Evolution is change from one condition to another. Evolution. It is the change from one condition to another with the passage of time. With the passage of time. This is evolution. The term evolution, it was given by Spencer. The term evolution was given by Spencer. Spencer was the scientist, Herbert Spencer. He gave the term evolution, and he said that evolution is a continuous change. Evolution means a continuous change. Continuous change. Now, this evolution, it is of two types. Evolution is of two types. One is inorganic evolution. Another is organic evolution. Inorganic evolution and organic evolution. Okay. Now what is inorganic evolution? Inorganic evolution means change of matter with the passage of time. Okay. Inorganic evolution means change of matter with the passage of time. Okay. It is called inorganic evolution. Now what is organic evolution? Your chapter deals with organic evolution. What is organic evolution? Organic evolution means change of organisms, gradual change of organisms from simple to complex with the passage of time. Organic evolution means gradual change of organisms. Gradual change of organisms from simple to complex. Simple to complex with the passage of time is called organic evolution. Organic evolution or biological evolution, or we can say biological evolution. Okay. And what is organic evolution? It is a change of organisms, modification of organisms with the passage of time. This is called organic evolution, or we can say biological evolution. Now Charles Darwin, one of the famous scientists in evolution, Charles Darwin, he said that evolution is decent with modifications. According to Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin, evolution is decent with modifications. Decent with modifications. That is present day complex forms have evolved from simpler ones due to gradual changes. Okay, Charles Darwin, he said that evolution is decent with modifications. That is, present day complex organisms, they have evolved from simpler organisms with gradual changes. So this is the statement of Charles Darwin. So Charles Darwin, his contribution is very in this evolution. So he is regarded as founder of evolution. Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin is the founder of evolution. Charles Darwin is the founder of evolution. Founder of evolution. Okay. So this is the definition of evolution. Now let us take our syllabus. In our syllabus we have to study first evidences of evolution. Evidences of evolution. Evidences of evolution. Now there are some evidences which support the process of organic evolution. These evidences are: number first, morphological evidence. Number second is embryological evidence. Number next is biogeographical evidence. Number next is paleontological evidence. Number next is cytogenetic evidence. Number next is biochemical and physiological evidence. The number next is taxonomic evidence. These are the evidences of evolution. Number one is morphological evidence, second is embryological evidence, number next is biogeographical, paleontological, cytogenetic, biochemical and physiological. The number next is taxonomic evidence. Okay. So in our syllabus we have to highlight these first four evidences: morphological evidence, embryological evidence, biogeographical and paleontological evidence. These four evidences are very important from the examination point of view. Okay. So let us take these evidences one by one. Number first is morphological evidence, or we can say morphology. Now, what is the relationship of morphology and evolution? What is the role of morphology in evolution? Discuss morphology as an evidence for organic evolution. These are the questions which are asked in examinations. Now, what is morphology? How can you define morphology? As you know, we are always taking it about external features only. No. Morphology is the study of external and internal features of an organism. That is called morphology. Morphology is the study of external and internal features. Internal features of an organism is called morphology. Morphology is study of external and internal features of an organism. That is called morphology. That is why morphology is divided into two branches. One is external morphology, another is internal morphology. Morphology has two branches. Number one is external morphology. External morphology. Second is internal morphology. External morphology and internal morphology. Okay. Now, what is external morphology? External morphology. External morphology. External morphology means study of external features. Study of external features. Study of external features of an organism. Like what is the size of organism? What is the shape of organism? What is the color of organism? What is the texture of organism? That part comes under external morphology. Okay. Now what is internal morphology? Internal morphology. What is internal morphology? Internal morphology means study of internal features of an organism. Study of internal features. This is study of internal features of an organism. Internal features. Now how? Suppose if we dissect a frog, we will give incision like this and the organs become visible like heart, intestine, lungs, other parts. They become visible. When we study these internal organs, this comes under internal morphology. We will not make a cross section of the organ. That will become histology. Without cross section, we will study these parts, these internal parts externally. Okay, that part comes under internal morphology. Is it okay? That is why internal morphology is also called as anatomy. It is also called as anatomy. So morphology is the study of external and internal features of an organism. Okay, it is divided into two branches: external morphology and internal morphology. External morphology means study of external features of an individual, like its shape, its size, color, texture, etc. Internal morphology means study of internal organs. Internal organs, but externally. Suppose if we dissect an organism, organs become visible. So we will study these organs without cross section. When we made a cross section of the organ, then it will become histology, not internal morphology. Okay. Now, how this morphology, whether it is external or internal morphology, how it supports the process of organic evolution? Morphology supports organic evolution. Morphology supports organic evolution due to following headings. Due to following ways. Number first, this is homologous organs. Homologous organs. Second is analogous organs. analogous organs. Third one is vestigial organs. Fourth one is atavism. Number next is connecting links. Okay. We will highlight morphology in support of organic evolution due to following ways. Number first is homologous organ. Number second is analogous organ. Number third is vestigial organ. Number fourth is atavism. And number next is connecting links. All these are the important headings which come under morphological evidence in support of organic evolution. Okay. Let us take these one by one. Today we will discuss here homologous organ. Homologous organs. Shabash, try to understand what are homologous organs. As the name indicates, homologous organ. The organs which have same structure and function but perform different functions. Which have same structure and origin but perform different functions are called homologous organs. Those organs which have same structure and origin but perform different functions are called homologous organs. This similarity in structure and origin is called homology. Okay. Now what are homologous organs? These are the organs which have same structure and origin. Origin is same, structure is same, but they perform different functions. Such organs are called homologous organs. This similarity in structure and origin is called homology. Now we will cite some examples in order to illustrate homologous organs. Examples. First example. Four limbs of vertebrates. Four limbs of vertebrates. Suppose if we take the four limbs of three vertebrates like frog, bird and horse. Four limbs of frog, bird and horse. Frog. If we study the four limbs of all the three vertebrates like frog, bird and horse, they have same origin, they have same structure of four limb, no problem. But they perform different functions. With the help of four limbs, frog performs leaping. Okay. With the help of four limbs, birds perform flying. Okay. That is, these four limbs, they are converted into wings, and wings help in flying. Another is horse. The four limbs of horse help in running. Okay. Go all the three organisms, they have same structure of four limb, but they perform different functions. In frog, they help in, four limbs help in leaping. In birds, they help in flying. In horse, they help in running. Okay. So these examples illustrate homologous organs. Okay, this is one example. Another example, that is mouth parts. Mouth parts of insects. Mouth parts of insects. If we take the mouth parts of insects, suppose cockroach, biting and chewing. Biting and chewing type. Number next is mosquito. Piercing and sucking type. Piercing and sucking type. Number next is housefly. Sponging type. Sponging type. Number next is butterfly. Butterflies. Butterfly. Siphoning type. Siphoning type. Number next is honeybee. Chewing. Chewing and lapping type. Chewing and lapping type. Try to understand mouth parts of insects. The mouth parts of insects have same structure and origin, but they perform different functions because their feeding habits are different. In cockroach, mouth parts are biting and chewing type. They first bite and then chew food. Mosquito performs piercing first and then sucks food. Okay. Housefly, sponging type. Houseflies, they feed on liquid food. They release these enzymes to outside and digested food outside. Then they take digested food. Okay, in liquid form. That type of mouth part is called sponging type. Butterfly, siphoning type. They feed on flower and fruit juices. Honeybees, they have chewing and lapping type. Means they feed on flowers. They collect nectar there. Okay. That type of mouth part is called chewing and lapping type. So all these insects, they have same mouth part. Structure is same, origin is same, but they perform different functions. Why? Because they have different feeding habits. They are adapted in different habitats. Okay. They have different feeding habits. That is why they have developed different types of mouth parts. Okay. This is second example. The next example, third example, that is legs of insects. Legs of insects. Suppose crickets. Legs help in digging. In mantids. Legs help in grasping. Okay. In beetles, legs help in swimming. Okay. In grasshopper, legs help in jumping. Shall I try to understand? So if we take the example of legs of insects, suppose legs of all these four insects, crickets, mantids, beetles and grasshopper, they have same structure and origin, but they perform different functions. Like crickets help in digging. They perform digging or burrowing in the soil. Mantids, legs help in grasping of materials. Beetles, water beetles, legs help in swimming. Grasshopper, legs help in jumping. So all these four organisms, they belong to insects. They have same structure and origin of the leg, but they perform different functions. This also illustrates homologous organs. Okay. Now So these are the examples of homologous organs. What is the significance? Significance of homologous organs. Okay. Significance organs indicate that these organisms have evolved from a common ancestor, having different adaptations. Why they have different adaptations? Because they are migrated to different habitats. Okay. That is why they have developed different adaptations, different functions. Such type of evolution is called divergent evolution, or we can say adaptive divergence. Suppose they are produced from a same stock, same ancestor, they have common ancestor. Later on they migrated to different habitats where they developed different adaptations. That is why they have performed different functions. That is called diverge. You might have read diverging lens and converging lens. This is diverge here. Means organisms migrated to different habitats. Such type of evolution is called divergent evolution or adaptive radiation. Okay. So significance is homologous organs indicate that organisms have evolved from a common ancestor. They have evolved from a common ancestor. Is it okay? Common ancestor, but have developed different adaptations as they migrated to different habitats.